What's going on? What's going on? I don't know, I'm gonna try to be brief, or I might be a little bit longer. It depends on how I feel. Sitting here chilling, getting in a little bit of self-care before I get this day started today. But I just had some thoughts on my mind. Oh, it's crazy out here. Diddy. Oh man, it's crazy out here with this Diddy stuff. This Diddy stuff, right? This stuff been going on in the industry, in the entertainment industry for a very long time. When you start looking at some of the things that's been disclosed to us, to the common folks out here, when you look at the Bill Cosby's of the world, the R. Kelly's of the world, Sean, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy Combs. It's been a lot of wild stuff that's just been going on in the community, amongst our celebrity figures. Vince McMahon, I think even former President Trump, was accused of, got caught up in some shenanigans. So didn't really want to, spend too much time breaking down and talking about those figures. But it just really got me thinking about the pattern of behavior that we continue to see that exists, amongst, entertainers, the entertainment industry, and even outside of entertainment figures, just notable figures when you get when you get to a certain status in your life. And it got me, I got on my soapbox with my chat group. I got a little chat group going on with my bros, and we got to talking about it. Sharing perspectives and sharing opinions. And get you a chat group, man. Get you some girls, get you some gals, or get you some folks, that you could just, bounce some things off of. Because I think as it relates to your mental health, intellectual, stimulation is vital to your overall well-being. And it's through having these conversations that we are provided with the opportunity to stimulate ourselves and pour back or pour into someone else from an intellectual perspective. So do that. I'm always talking to people about when it comes to your overall well-being, there are a variety of different things, and it's going to differ when you rate them in hierarchy of importance, but there are a variety of different things that we can use to pour back into yourself when you think about your intellectual health, when you think about your psychological health, when you think about your physical health, when you think about your physical health, your spiritual health. So what are the restorative, what are the protective things that we're going to use, just ate breakfast, to pour back into, recharge you, or even strengthen those things as that contributes to your overall well-being. So like I was mentioning earlier, I think, having something like a chat group, where you can discuss things and you can explore things, whether it be, something that you're using on your phone with people that you identify, or joining a group online, is something that can be beneficial to your overall well-being. Now, I know I got away. I know I went off on a little bit of a tangent here. Let's get back to, what I was talking a little bit about. When I think about getting to a certain status in your life, I think with that, you're often, when you get status, you get power. So one of the bros in the group was talking about, power corrupts, right? And I said to myself, I thought to myself, that's so true. I think sometimes you get into a situation, and like the elders used to tell us, I don't want to say old folks. don't do that. But I used to hear my elders say, hey, act like you've been there before. You ever heard that before? You ever heard somebody say, hey, listen, we going somewhere? Or, if anybody who's ever played any sport has probably heard it, hey, act like you won before. Act like you've been there before. And I think that's part of what's missing when we look at some of the things that's going on out here in the world. Because when one of the bros, made that statement, yeah, power corrupts. My counter to that point was, Yeah, but it don't have to. Power does not have to corrupt. If you act like you've been there before, act like you had something before. Why does power have to corrupt? It doesn't. I think some things in life really boil down to, what do you subscribe to? What do you believe? Now, me, I spent a lot of time reading growing up, and I often pull from a lot of these literatures. I pull things, I pull concepts. That's also, what contributes to intellectual stimulation. Pulling concepts and thinking about, how do these concepts apply to life in general, and how do these concepts apply to how you want to live your life. So some of the best readings that I've ever came across in my life, and some of the best concepts that I've been able to pull came from reading comic books. Listen, those guys, Scott Lobdell and Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, listen. People were dropping some bars in these comic books, yo. If you go back and you pick up a comic, I'm telling you, it's not just great artwork there going on there. It's not just children's stuff, but, some of the things that were written in comic books, really were thought-provoking and very beneficial to shaping your perspective, getting you to essentially think critically about things. So, who's a Spider-Man fan out there? Like, everybody pretty much loves Spider-Man. How can you not like Spider-Man, right? Spidey's the man. So, in the Spider-Man universe, one of the concepts, one of the quotes, it talks a little bit about power, since we're talking about power today. And, one of the things, that would come up in the Spider-Man comic book was, what do you do with power? What do you do? What do you do when you get power? Because, like, we know that power can corrupt, but it doesn't have to be that way. But what do you do with power? So Spidey, Peter Parker, who became Spider-Man, was raised by his aunt and uncle, because it's, depending on what iteration you're dealing with for the story. So essentially his parents passed away. So Spider-Man, gets bitten by this radioactive spider, right? Now, I don't think his uncle at the time, if I'm remembering the story correctly, doesn't know that he's Spider-Man, but part of the belief system that Peter Parker is raised in is about, well, what do you do with power? What do you do with power? Don't be a bully. Don't be an asshole. Don't be arrogant. Don't be a narcissist. Don't be controlling. Don't abuse your power. And the concept, came from a principle. The concept came from a principle. That principle being, come on, I know we all know it. You know what I'm going to say. With great power comes responsibility. With great power comes responsibility. I've also heard it quoted as, with great power comes great responsibility. Nonetheless, power and responsibility go hand in hand. So, yes, power can corrupt, but it doesn't have to if you have a healthy belief set around what do you do with power. If you have a healthy belief set, a constructive belief set around what do you do when you get status, what do you do when you get power, and you believe that it comes with a certain set of responsibility, then that means when it comes to accountability, you have wielded your power accordingly. You have wielded your power in a manner that is honorable. You have wielded your power in a manner that is indicative of not trying to do any harm to anyone or anything. See, I believe true power comes from your ability to have self-discipline. And true power also comes from a person's ability, to take a macro level approach and subscribe to collectivist ideals by looking at the bigger picture at times, and then also, thinking about, all right, well, if I do this thing, how does this affect these actions? How does these actions not only affect me, but how do these actions also affect those around me? How do these actions affect my community? How do these actions, represent my family? But how many people are looking at things that way, right? And when you don't have a healthy mindset, when you don't have healthy principles, when you don't have a constructive belief system, well, I guess power can corrupt. And that's how you find yourself, in a situation like Diddy. If you get to that level in life, that's how you find yourself, in a situation like R. Kelly. If you get to that level in life, that's how you find yourself in a situation like Bill Cosby. If you get to that level in life, power does not have to be a bad thing. Power does not have to corrupt you, but you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to utilize your power accordingly if you are given the opportunity to have some. So, this is Jermaine Wright, your LPC, just checking in with you today. Always inspiring hope, encouraging you to build to becoming the best version of yourself. Follow me over on YouTube, Building Blocks for Mental Health. Follow me over on TikTok. Follow me over on Facebook. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you soon.